Hi everyone, welcome to How to Trick a Fish, another episode in the bass sort of blog or vlog or whatever you want to call it. Last night I went out to search my local area, sort of first time with the new bass rod. Obviously no fish, or else I'd have a big picture of the fish on the bloody thumbnail. So I went for a walk from my local place. I'm not going to start giving away marks just in case I do start catching them, but so I went along from a beach estuary mark. I had a quick look, but it's very, very calm, so I thought I'd do a bit of exploring and not really fussed about the fishing that much. Just wanted to see if I could find a few marks for another day. I clambered along the cliffs. I've probably walked about 10,000 steps because I felt the buzz going off on my watch before I actually started climbing down some marks. Found a few really good rocky marks, reckon would be amazing for wrasse, probably good for bass as well. So yeah, quite exciting. I fished right through into dark, didn't see any action. Very, very, very calm water. Too calm. I think I know that some people were doing well yesterday, but it was very, very calm last night on the marks that I went to. Be interesting to see what it's like with a bit of a swell down there and some waves rolling in, some fizzy water. So that's it. Quick look outside. It was really nice to try the new rod, the HTO Nebula 9 foot 735 grams with the new reel, which was the Penn Slammer IV. Yeah, really nice pairing, and it's really good to get some confidence in the braid as well. I really, really hate fishing braid. I just have ridiculous amounts of problems with wind knots. Not really that experienced with it. But every time I tend to fish with braid, I seem to have problems, and then I wound it on after asking some tips yesterday. Thank you very much. On the best way to sort of load the braid on with backing, etc. as well. So I used a drill and a few other spools, and I was sort of filled my line up, filled the reel up first. I'll grab the reel quickly. Yeah, so I filled the spool up with the braid first, and then attached the mono, and then went until the point where I wanted it. Sort of, some people might say I've actually overfilled this, but I basically filled it to where I thought it should be, and then I wound that off then, so that it would be in reverse onto a spool of mono. That's an empty spool of mono spool, and then did this same again onto another spool, so it was reversed again, so that when I put it back onto this reel, finally, I'd have the mono on first, which I wound on really, really tight with a tip that Danny Parkins gave me, and then the braid on top, and then I attached my leader. So yeah, it's really, really, really good. But it's, to me, that's the best I've loaded a reel before. It took a lot of time and effort. When I finally loaded it onto this as well, I put the spool that I loaded it onto into a sink so that I was loading on wet, which is another tip that I've heard many times. So I made sure it was going on nice and tight from the mono. The braid went on not too tight, but under a bit of pressure, and then I finished off with my leader, which I'm not too fussed about anyway. But so yeah, so that's my reel spooled up. And so the whole point, I've just lost the point of the story, but what I was saying was basically I was really, really happy testing the rod and reel out. It was casting a dream. I started casting some very light lures to sort of try it out first, and then gradually built up, and I was really blasting out some heavier lures by the end of the session, and basically just getting confidence in the rod. So really looking forward to getting out fishing, hopefully getting some fish soon. Quick update, on Saturday night I found myself with some spare time, so I went down for a fish about 10 o'clock at night. I fished a open beach mark, probably about 2 or 3 kilometres around from the estuary which I've been fishing. Spun a few soft plastics at first, just basically trying them out, for figuring out what feels right, and then getting used to my new rod and reel setup, which is definitely feeling really, really good. So quite positive. I felt really confident. I sort of felt like almost every turn of the reel handle that I was actually going to catch, which was quite nice because I've not felt like that before. Really got good confidence in not only the kit that I'm fishing with, but also that the marks are definitely going to have bass on them. Yeah, really excited to actually sort of get into my first bass in this area since I've moved here. But so fished on the beach for about 3 hours. Sort of moving sort of 10-15 meters at a time, and then sort of fanning my cast around a clock sort of all the way around me, making sure not to neglect any areas. Managed to get a few bumps on a soft plastic, which I'm pretty sure were little tail nips. Could have been small pollock or something similar, but it could have been schoolie bass maybe. I was fishing sort of 7-inch soft plastics at the time, so possibly. So yeah, I sort of made my way along the beach, all the different parts of it, and then just before I was sort of due to head home, I parked up at the estuary which I've been hoping to really get into fishing and find my way around. So I thought I'd spend sort of an hour just walking up the estuary and sort of just learning the mark a bit better, I suppose. So I got in sort of up to knee deep, and I sort of made my way up the estuary, and it was quite fun seeing like loads of small bait fish jumping out. I think someone suggested they might be sand eels, that could also have been smelt or something similar. So yeah, it was really good fun. Obviously no fish at this stage, but they'll come, and it's really good to just get that sort of confidence and really feel like every turn of the handle there might be a fish there. So yeah, getting there. So after the session I just talked about, I put a post on the UK Bass Lure Fishing Facebook group, and if you're not already a member, I strongly advise you join it, because some of the comments I got back give me loads of really good tips. I'll read the post quickly, and then I'm just going to read back one of the comments from David Taylor, who's a guy I know from Plymouth. I've never actually met Dave, but I speak to him quite a bit. So my comment: I went out for a first real solo night session last night, and also my first lengthy session with the new rod, reel and braid. I put in about 4.5 hours. I think I had 2 little plucks on a soft plastic on the same retrieve on the open beach, but other than that it was impossibly quiet. My confidence was high though, and it felt like I was about to get a bite with almost every turn of the reel handle, especially as the tide dropped and I was able to start wading up the estuary. I saw loads of small fish jumping clear of the water in the moonlight as I was wading upstream, but I haven't got a clue what they were. I'm almost certain this venue holds bass, just need to figure out when. So there's a bunch of handy tips and sort of encouragement from the guys, which is really nice. But it was Dave Taylor's comment I wanted to talk about, so I'm going to read Dave's comment. Try the last 2 hours of the ebb to low, then 1 hour up, then any fish that are up have to come down, and if they're already down, they'll be waiting on the flood. You mentioned as the tide dropped, you waded up. Those fish will be exiting on the ebb, so you may be walking past fish. It would be almost better to sit it out and let the fish come to you. You will notice constrictions in the current where they speed up or slow down, creases in the water where you can see pace of the water as it passes over sandbanks or rocky ledges. Aim for those small, hardly noticeable features. I also think in another 2 weeks it will see the arrival of bass that will make it more worthwhile rather than slogging out for a lone wolf at the moment. If you see a swallow flying past, get the rod out and go. So yeah, the advice makes loads of sense. So sort of wading up the river as I was, as useful as it was sort of finding out a little bit more about the marks and learning the topography under the water, Dave's comment really sort of sank home with me about picking sort of an area on the estuary and then waiting for the fish really. So the fish going out on the outgoing tide and the fish obviously swimming up on the flood. So last night I went down, and I did actually wade down the estuary to start with, but because where I joined it, I might as well have a look as I walked down. But once I found my spot, I stayed sort of, picked about a 50-metre stretch and sort of stuck to that. And yeah, I saw ridiculous amounts of fish actually. I saw lots of mullet, loads of sea trout jumping, especially once I started casting around. And I did see quite a few bass, a couple bigger. I'm not very good at estimating size, but I'd say sort of 3 to 4 pounds swam past me, and I did actually get a lot of bites, so it could have been the sea trout. Well, in fact, I know I definitely was sea trout as well, because I did actually hook up to a sea trout. And yeah, so I think it makes a lot of sense, and being exactly where I was, I knew the fish activity was around me, so there were fish swimming past me both sides of the tide. So 24th of April, so I got down there sort of about 4 o'clock yesterday. I bumped off work a little bit early. So low tide, 2 meters 25, was at 17:59. So I was there sort of 2 hours before the low tide, so fishing the outgoing tide, and then I fished the ebb and about an hour or so coming in. So I left there just about 20 past 9 last night. Yeah, so what Dave was saying makes quite a bit of sense. I didn't fish exactly the time he said, but sort of there or thereabouts. Yeah, so I think I've definitely learned quite a bit, and I'm going to go there and fish the same sort of time with different lures, maybe some smaller lures, and see if I can pick up a couple of the schoolies. But obviously my aim is to pick up the bigger bass, and I've been talking to a few others as well who told me basically that on this mark the bass don't really come in sort of until June, July. For the bigger fish anyway, but I'm going to keep fishing it because it's my local mark and I'm determined to do well whilst I'm here, because I'm on here for another 6-7 months. So I'm going to be selling the house I'm in here. So I'm really keen to do well on this mark and fish it out. But I will be trying some of the marks further along the coast path from here over the next couple of weeks as well. Now I've got a bit more time to fish. Since I started this vlog, I've actually been really busy doing DIY, etc. But that's sort of come to an end now. So I've got a few weeks now where I can really target some serious fishing time, especially some night sessions as the tides pick up. The last part of this vlog, so thanks very much. I really do appreciate the time. If you took the time to watch this, I'd appreciate even more if you could leave me a comment in the comment section and sort of let me know what you like hearing, which bits are boring the hell out of you and send you to sleep. I'm sending myself to sleep a bit here with this one. So I did pick up a few more lures as well. These are from Rooney's Fishing Supplies over in Northern Ireland. I've got, I can't remember what they're actually called these now, but basically it's a 7-inch sort of tapered Senko. I've got them in lemon, sort of black glitter colour, and also the pure white. So I'll be adding these to my nighttime arsenal as well.